And we are live. I am Adam. This is Highly Articulated. And no guests today. I'm going to go over a little bit of news, and then I'm going to get into a topic that I've just been thinking about recently. This is like it might come off as a rant. It might come off as just the musings of an imbecile. I will say this. It will 100% be what I think, what I feel, how I am as a collector. I'm not going to try to tell people, how to collect or what to collect or anything like that. Full disclosure, I have, a bias towards some of the things that I might say there. I have my preferences. I have my sort of opinions, but ultimately, these what's the thing, like, these opinions are mine and not shared by whatever. I don't know. I guess it's my show, my channel, so that's not relevant. But I've just been feeling like toys. Toys are complicated. Collecting toys is complicated all of a sudden. Or at least that's the way it feels, right? Like we get, and maybe this is a bias, maybe it's a sort of perspective bias, based on the fact that, as collectors, we sort of exist in our bubble, and all of us sort of exist in the bubble that we create for ourselves. So no two bubbles are the same either. I will mention that. The YouTube channels that I watch, the Facebook groups that I'm a part of, the Instagram accounts that I follow, are all chosen by me, to sort of reflect what I want them to reflect, more or less. But everybody is going to have different choices that they've made, along their path, and so they may end up with a bubble that seems different, right? What's inside your bubble may seem different. So my perspective may come across as like incorrect or something like that, and that's fair. That's totally fair. It's totally valid, and I totally understand that. That's what the discussion is going to be about. That's what I'm sort of here to talk about, right? How do we each and every one of us sort of approach toy collecting, and maybe it's more complicated for others than it is for me. Maybe it's less complicated for others, and if so, please let me know how to sort of unclutter a lot of this stuff. But anyway, as I said, we're going to go over a little bit of news. There's not, the weird thing is, there's not a lot of news that's like 100% relevant to me personally. But there's a whole lot of stuff going on. So that's kind of where the impetus for the topic, the discussion came from. And if I had more foresight, I'd be able to have, more guests on and be able to, but I always wait. And then I decide on a topic, the day before, 2 days before. And then it feels, and then I just don't have time to like reach out to people and get them to agree. Like, hey, what are you doing tomorrow afternoon? I just don't bother reaching out because I just don't want, and then it's just me ranting. It's this is all of my own these are all problems of my own creation. But anyway, let's check out the chat, and then that'll help me to sort of stop rambling on here. Star is here. Star says, this sounds like a perfect topic at a perfect time. Thanos Copter is hanging out. Rape has Payne's toy samples. Cobweb Collector. Shout out to Cobweb Collector. He's got some Origin stuff for me. So I gotta get that sorted out. Jeff Morris is here. Larry Reed. I'm going to talk about Transformers for like a split second because I don't know anything about Transformers. Yeah, Star, exactly this. The views and opinions of Highly Articulated do not represent those of his guests, nor YouTube or any of its associates. That's exactly it. Baines, I want to say thank you to everyone here for providing me with a place to talk about toys. And Adam, thank you for being a friend. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's the thing, right? You know, it's like we're talking about toys. We're talking about, it's weird, right? Because the toys are just the toys are sort of an aspect of something that's like more important. You know, the toys are sort of the physical representation of like a community that exists where, you know, like-minded people can like hang out and chat and stuff like that. And I'm just trying to like, you know, curate a community that you know wants to have fun with this and not be at each other's throats all the time. Allison Troy is here as well. What's going on, Allison? Brian Brink says, I've been collecting Transformers for the last 10 years. Third party, multiple scales and styles. Complexity is the name of the game. I see that these complexities have definitely spread to other collecting. Yeah, Transformers is a funny one too, because because it feels like that's, well, I'll get there in a second. I don't know enough about Transformers to speak with any type of authority, but Star says it's becoming a veritable desert out there. I've been considering canceling all my pre-orders in favor of purchasing more materials to sculpt my own figures. That's not a bad idea. Not exactly action figures. That's okay. You know, that's the thing. It's like, I'm going to adjust this because it's driving me crazy. Sorry. It doesn't have to always be action figures, right? Like it can be dioramas. It can be third-party stuff. It can be statues. It could be whatever. It doesn't matter. That's not really the point, right? Like I was sort of saying, the action figures are sort of the manifestation, the physical representation of something, but you know, it can be like, you don't have to actually be buying anything to be part of the community, right? And I think that's where it sometimes gets lost, almost, where people get really hung up on, like, you know, like, I need a figure because there's like some status connected to it or something. I don't know. I don't buy into that. I don't follow that. So anyway, rape has, that's a different topic. If you're talking about people that make you feel a certain way if you collect from certain companies, that's a topic lots of people want to get a handle of. Yeah, I mean, that's, collect what you want. That's my hot take. Do whatever you want to do. These are toys. But that's not what I'm going to be talking about. All right, so let's very quickly just jump into some news stuff, which will kind of lean into, you know, the topic. These are just sort of some of the things that have been going on this week that have sort of led me to the topic. So first up, let's take a look if StreamYard wants to play nice. Apparently it doesn't, which is fun. It's always nice when I click the button and nothing happens. Oh, StreamYard. Oh, StreamYard. Hold on. I even I restarted my computer, reset everything, hoping that it would play ball. Was it last week that it was doing this too, where it just was not doing what I was trying to get it to do? I think it probably was. Why are you doing this to me? Okay. Well, why don't I just tell you what I was going to show you? You could just imagine it. So imagine, if you will, that I'm in the corner of the screen, and up big in the screen, where my face is right now, is Rock On. Imagine that I'm showing you the Mattel Creations page, with Rock On, where it says sold out, and everybody's going to sort of feel a particular kind of way about that, because I admittedly know nothing about um, Rock On, Rock On. I don't know. That, thank you, Thanos. um, I don't have any sort of skin in the game as far as Rock On goes. It was a character and a figure that I didn't realize existed until until Toy Habits mentioned that Mattel Creations was going to do a release for it. And so what's going on? So it's saying that it's showing it, and it's not showing it. Anyway, so until Toy Habit said that they were going to release Rock On for Mattel Creations, I didn't know it existed. Then we had it sort of go up and get solicited for pre. There it is, finally. There it is. So now you don't have to see it in your mind, but here, let me just quickly make it embiggened a little bit. There you go. That looks a little bit better. All right, so Rock On sold out. Like I said, I have no vested interest in this character. I knew nothing about this character. I knew nothing about the Rock Lords, I think is what they're called. Like a whole planet of these guys. Somebody said, and I forget. It was Oz or Cobb that said, you're going to be kicking yourself if you don't get Rock On and they release Rock Slide or something. I don't know, another one. And I was like, I don't think so. But this went up for it was announced that they were going to have it for pre-order on the February 14th or 15th, like a week ago. And then everybody was sort of waiting, and it didn't go up, and it disappeared. And then there was international shipping problems, and then it was going to be US only. And then the new date went up, and the price kept changing, and so on and so forth. And it kind of rubbed a few people the wrong way. Thanos Copter says Origins by far my most frustrating line to collect. Yeah, fair enough. And Brian, this is a great there it is. Not at all like I imagined. Well, there it is, exactly. But yeah, I mean, this is a figure that a lot of avid Masters of the Universe collectors wanted. They were ready. They sort of, money in hand, ready to order it. It didn't go up, and then it did go up, and then it sold out, I think, rather quickly. I don't know. I was kind of asking around. I was asking people that I know that collect Masters of the Universe whether or not they got theirs. And I, to the best of my knowledge, everybody that I know that wanted one was able to get one. But if you were at work, or you were on the wrong coast, or in the wrong country, or what have you, Masterversal Toy Hunter's got to get his shipped to Eternia. So did you manage to secure one of these? Hopefully, Eldor. But if not, I probably know people that have them. Well, you do too. So Thanos says sold out in a little over an hour. Great Pals, I collect what I like. Sometimes a figure gets my interest, and I'll watch reviews of the figure. If I see enough good reviews, I'll check it out. That's if there's a figure that I'm on the fence about, I'll watch reviews. Otherwise, I don't watch reviews at all, believe it or not. So Rock On, was released, and and it's sold out really quickly. Then we've got this. Now this will appeal to Larry Reed and probably to Brian if StreamYard wants to participate in making this happen. So on my screen, I'm switching to the HasLab, the Omega Prime HasLab. And so then you get HasLabs, right? You get something that's like a totally different thing where you have plenty of time to get it. Why, StreamYard, are you doing this to me? Okay, so you're gonna be looking at Rock On, but I'm gonna be talking about Omega Prime. Then you get Omega Prime on HasLab, right? And you get an amount of time to get it. It's not a cheap figure. It's not. It's relatively easy to get if you can afford it in time. But then the question is, like, does Hasbro really need to do this as a crowd funded project? And I would say that by and large, this makes sense as a crowd-funded project. Omega Prime, I personally am not familiar with what. I'll just pull that down. Hopefully, it'll fix itself in StreamYard, and I can put Omega back up there. Larry Reed says, I backed Omega Prime. I think a lot of people did. Omega Prime is at 15 plus thousand backers, which is pretty good. The Transformers one seems to do pretty well. I heard somebody suggest that the Japanese market really sort of plays into the HasLabs for the Transformer stuff, which brings up what Brian Brink said earlier about Transformers being a little bit of a unique situation. And I agree. You have Transformers in North America through Hasbro, but then you have, through Takara Tomy, you have other lines. And so there's a different market that has even, different media that supports the IP and so on and so forth. So let me try this one more time. Let me see if I can just override this. No, of course not. But Omega Prime is, another example of like where this is all getting complicated, and how this is all getting complicated because you've got crowd-funded projects by, very big corporations that some might argue need not crowd fund their projects. You have. I can't show you the screen, so this is not. Should I just talk through this and not bother with the screens? I had the visuals ready this time, which is really a bummer. But anyway, coming up, next week we have the G.I. Joe Classified Series Pulse fan stream, which will probably have more pre-orders. So then it's like this. Then there's this whole sort of pre-order. Is it in stock? When will it ship? You get a ship date. It ships at a different time. There's delays. Things come early. Things get complicated. You pre-order something and you don't prepay. And Brick StreamYard is blowing it. I can't get it to share screen. I don't know. It's telling me that it's sharing. Clearly, it's not. So that's what's happening with StreamYard. I don't know if I set it all up before and then it blew it. Anyway. The Four Horsemen has done another in-stock sale. So this weekend it went live yesterday at, I want to say, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. What is going on? Yes, detail. StreamYard's messing with me now. I'm just gonna talk. The visuals are too frustrating. Store Horseman has their in-stock sale. There was a few very, very limited items. There was a pin set, and well, the pin set might have been the only like really, really limited item. But then there was some older releases and some standard releases of con exclusives that went up that people were pretty excited about. And then the Valiant Knight. So there was a figure that was a Legion Con release that a lot of people wanted to see and pick up, and it sold out. And so there's people paying aftermarket prices, even though that figure is kind of like a standard release in some ways. And so there's people that are selling, the Valiant Knight on the aftermarket for way more than it should be sold for, if I'm being perfectly honest. And there's people that need it just because it's new, just because they don't have it, right? Just because people are talking about it. I have a Valiant Knight. I'm going to be very, very blunt. It's not as great as some people make it out to be. It has better articulation than most, Four Horsemen figures, but it's not that great. And StreamYard, what are you doing? Why? It's got like a 5-minute lag. Anyway, Thanos says, "Missed the Valiant Knight," I know like a lot of people did, and yeah, I think there's going to be more and more opportunities to get it. I know a lot of people are sort of bummed that they didn't get it for whatever reason. It's but like I said, that body, that Valiant Knight, like that armored body, is going to be in upcoming waves. It's sort of like a pre-release almost of what we're going to see for armored knight bodies going forward. So it's sort of the precursor to that, and a lot of people want to get it. But at the end of the day, it's sort of like, why? Like, what's to me, right? Like, it's just a knight. It's a simple knight. It's nothing special. I'm looking at it. That's why I keep looking off screen. The paint deco is not that great. The articulation, like yeah, it's an improvement over what the Four Horsemen have done for articulation in the past. It doesn't, it's nowhere near the articulation of Animal Wars of the Kingdom. It's nowhere near the articulation of G.I. Joe Classified. It's nowhere near it's nowhere near the articulation of like SH Figuarts. So when people are kind of like going crazy about the articulation on the Valiant Knight, trust me when I tell you this. If you collect any other lines, it's not that impressive. It's cool that they're getting better with the articulation, but it's still not that great as far as articulation goes, in my opinion. Again. Ray Paz, that's another weird thing to me. What's the difference what corporations do? They're a business. They offer something, you either buy or not. If you don't want to miss out, you buy it. If not, don't. 100%. And that's, another aspect for me. Like, my collecting philosophy is buy it when you see it. The idea of like playing clearance chicken, right, is not something that I bother with, because there's no guarantee you're going to get it, and then you'll complain because like it's a weird thing, right? You buy it at full price, you pre-order it at full price, and then you complain that it goes on a discount. It's sort of like, well, if it had that value to you, then it has that value, right? If they discount it after the fact, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a bummer. You could have saved a little bit of money. You could have got more figures, right? That's the reality. We all find a way for the toys that we want to buy. But at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you buy it or you don't. I'm the same way. Like, I don't begrudge somebody for buying something that they want, or not buying something. Like the people sort of attach these politics to things that just aren't there, which is just very odd. Jeff Moore says the Four Horsemen in stock prices are very good. They are, but I mean, when you add in shipping and when you add in like all that kind of stuff, I like for me in Canada, they don't work out to be that great, to be perfectly honest. Um, Ray Paz, it's so weird to watch people freak out about Kickstarters, crowdfunded, etc. I agree. I agree 100%. But people complain about pre-orders too. People want things to be in stock. There's lots of people that want to go, back to the days where you hunt everything in store. That's fine. If you want to collect that way, then you do you, right? Like that's what I'm saying. But I think there are people that feel as though pre-orders are sort of killing in stock, on shelf hunting because the stock basically gets bought up before it gets delivered to the store, and it's sort of like, well, yeah. I mean, if you're Walmart and you can sell the product before you even have to stock it, that's a win. If you're Hasbro and you can sell, a $250 transformer without ever, spending the money to do the tooling, that's a win. If you're a startup company that can lock in, 1,000 orders before you have to invest anything in tooling, that's a win. I mean, all these things. I think there's an element where we kind of forget that there's a business behind this, right? And that people are trying to make money, and that in 2024, where the selection is so vast and there is so many things on offer. We talk about how this is a golden age for collecting, right? That they're like any IP you want is out there in some form, probably, unless it's Black Star. Um, right? I don't know. I'm behind on comments. I'm trying to sort of keep up on this, but everything is out there for you. If you want a particular IP, it's probably out there. And if it's not, there's probably somebody working on a Kickstarter. There's probably somebody working on a project, something like that. So this one I'll bring up because this is one of those ones. Just hold on. Well, here, I'll read this one first. It's hard to track, but even if I don't get everything I want, very little of what I do get disappoints or bores me. Exactly. There's so many good toys out there. It kind of comes down to like people can't get all the things that they want, and there's so many reasons that they can't. All right. Star says, scalpers just make me want to drop the whole hobby entirely. They're not part of the collecting family, but we still have to deal with them or miss out. That sucks. This is a hot button topic, right? Like, admittedly, this is one of those things where people feel a certain kind of way, right? This has the potential to trigger people. I don't have a problem with the resale market. Okay? That's sort of my stance, because to me there's no difference between somebody that buys an extra to sell later for a little bit more than they paid and a scalper. There is no difference. People act like there is, okay? But there isn't. If you buy more than you need, right? Whether you buy 2 or 10, you're buying more than you need with the intention of selling it to make a little bit more money than what you paid for it. Now, I know that, there's sort of like a connotation when you use that term, Star. It's people that like have no interest in the toys whatsoever. That's fine. Like, I'll your opinion is 100% valid. I entirely understand where you're coming from. But my counter argument to that is that, over the last few years, I've developed a network of like-minded people that live in different places. And, sometimes I can find things that they can't. Sometimes they can find things that I can't, and we help each other out. The point being, I don't think anybody has to deal with scalpers. I don't think anybody has to buy any of these things, right? So if you don't like the price that somebody is offering something at, you don't have to buy it. Now I understand, the sort of idea that like it's entirely possible that all of a product gets bought up by people that are intentionally buying them just with the intention of flipping and have no interest in it in the product whatsoever. So don't buy it. And I know that that sounds like super super simplified and it sounds super like what am I trying to say? Like I, the market is there. If they're able to put them out there at a price and sell them at that price, then the market is there. If you don't like the price, you don't buy it, and if you don't want to pay the price, you don't buy it. But at the end of the day, it's sort of like I don't know. Like I don't know. I don't get hung up on that. Is what I'm saying. I guess that's maybe what I'm trying to get at is that like that exists and it's unfortunate. But if a figure sort of ends up going that route, I just don't get that figure. I don't need anything that bad. I pretty much refuse to pay anything over retail. Is the honest truth. Um, I can think of like in my collection, there's like maybe half a dozen things that I paid over retail for. There's a whole lot of things that I want that I cannot get at retail, and I just don't own them. So, okay, let me see if I can catch up with the comments a little bit here. Um, Larry Reed, this is another one. That Mondo exclusive Rogue is going to be stupid money, only be 1,000 units and selling out in minutes. Yes, timed exclusive, like a timed limited exclusive. That's a weird one. I mean, that there's no way around that. I don't know why they would have done that. My guess is that Mondo basically priced out that timed exclusive Rogue with the Sentinel base thing or whatever, and they're probably losing money on it, which is my guess is that maybe they're just not making any money off of it, and so they had to effectively limit it to a very very small number. Um, and there's reasons for that. I mean, there's marketing reasons for that, right? And I know that a lot of people will be like, well, they should have just made more. But if you're losing money on it, the classic example of that is like Blue Mondays making the I got that backwards. New Order making the Blue Monday was it a 7-inch single or whatever, where they lost money on every unit that they sold, and it was like the number one selling record. So they lost a boatload of money. People, the song got out there, people loved it, and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of the same thing with Mondo. I wonder if like, or sorry, I shouldn't say it's the same with Mondo. I wonder if it's the same with Mondo, that they sort of they decided to take a hit on all of those units to get the attention, to get the news cycle, to get all the, there's no such thing as bad press, right? Kind of comes into play here. So, um, Brick says you're not wrong about the Valiant Knight. What's going on, AI? Let's see. Larry said the waiting game is key. Yeah, I mean, for some stuff, absolutely wait, but this, I agree, Star. If you wait, there's no guarantee that you'll get it. Exactly, that's 100% accurate. AI says the shipping to Canada kills it for me. Even if it's on sale, still is a hard buy for me personally. That's true. I don't know specifically what item you're talking about, but I agree completely. A good deal when it has to cross the border very quickly vanishes. Thanos, I'd like to be able to find stuff in stores. They just aren't at all reliable. I pre-order now because I could never find stuff. Exactly. I mean, I just don't. I don't. I love, the feeling of finding a figure in store. I love that. I don't know what it is. It's endorphins or whatever it is that you sort of get. Um, I still vividly remember finding Major Blood, the classified Major Blood, on the shelf at Toys R Us, way earlier than I thought I would find it in Canada, and um, and I get it, but for me, it's sort of like, I would much rather remove all the stress of toy collecting, by just, as I said, buy it when I see it. Um, Star says sometimes it's not just getting the figures, but it's the hunt for them that's exciting. Then when you do find it, yeah, totally. Um, and so that's how I'm feeling right now about like the Masters of the Universe Origins, right? Like I said, if I can get them for less than retail, that's sort of the exciting part. You add that sort of stipulation. It's not a line that I need. It's not a line that I need at all. So I'm happy to to sort of find them in the wild and try to, like, sometimes it's Facebook Marketplace, sometimes it's um stuff like that. Sometimes it's through other collectors. It's on sale on the shelf, whatever. But it's not a line that I need. When it's a line that I need, here's the price. Do you want it? Yes or no? Yes, I'll take it. Thanos, Walmart doesn't fulfill pre-orders. I hear that all the time. Um, trying to understand people have different beliefs and practices. I refuse to accept it. I'm right, you're wrong. Deal with it. Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that, right? So, I just don't buy into that. I just don't sort of get hung up on that stuff. Um, Ray says, and you added context. That's good. When I read this, I understood what you're talking about. That doesn't make sense. I'm pretty sure they will purchase some extra on top of the pre-orders unless there is data that is saying retail stores are only purchasing enough to fulfill pre-orders. Well, I don't think it works that way. So, like, if you're Walmart or Amazon or Target, I don't think it works the way that it does for smaller retailers. So those bigger retailers, and this is I'm not Scott Knightlick. I don't know this to be true. I've never worked for UPS. So don't quote me on this. This is my impression. This is my sort of thought on how it potentially works. My suspicion is that Walmart. I'm just going to use Walmart as an example because people have mentioned Walmart. They probably get a line sheet and it says, figures X, Y, and Z. How many do you want? And they say, we'll take, 1,000 of each. Who knows how many they take? I don't know. It's probably way more than 1,000. But anyway, they say we'll take 1,000 of each. Hasbro goes, great. They send them an invoice. And I think that's long before there's any real sort of material that they can use as a pre-order. And pre-orders only go up when sort of Hasbro allows it through their agreements with Walmart or whatever. So there's a disconnect, there's a delay. So say Walmart's sitting on 1,000 units that they've already ordered. When the pre-order comes up for them, they post it online and 1,000 people go online and pre-order it. That's the 1,000 units. Walmart may be able to go to Hasbro and then say we'll happily take 1,000 more because we've already sold through 1,000. Walmart might, I don't know exactly how they do it. I don't know how the numbers work. For smaller retailers, they basically, at least with Hasbro, but this, I guess I also know how it kind of works with Spiro too, but like you basically the small retailers only know about the stuff when we do, basically, right? And then when pre-orders go up, those retailers get their pre-orders in. So so smaller retailers have a timeline that's more similar to like what we as collectors have, whereas Walmart, Target, Amazon, those guys book way further in advance, and they book sight unseen. They don't book based on what we see, right? They don't pre-book snake eyes. They pre-book a code name with a number that just says GI Joe classified 6-inch scale figure. I'm trying to think of one of the code names that I can't, but they would like, so they don't, it doesn't work. It doesn't work quite the way that it should, which is why, in my opinion, which is why Walmart, Target, and Amazon have such a hard time with their pre-orders, is because they may not have pre-ordered enough units to sort of meet the demand, because they don't know what the demand is, because they don't know what they're buying and what they're going to be selling. But that's just my opinion. I'm going to move past this because that's, AI, you can get MOFX and SHF shipped from overseas for similar prices with minimal chance of custom fees. Yeah, there's ways around a lot of this kind of stuff too, right? So, AI says the people that pay the prices are almost as guilty as the people selling. In some respects, AI, that is exactly how I feel. I assume that this is probably in part, a reaction to what I was saying about scalpers. So I'm going to try to catch up um, because I'm losing context in terms of the comments there. Ray Paz, okay, this is a good example, such as classified eels. I don't know how I was able to get my hands on at least two. I will be damned, though. No shot. I'm paying 50 a pop. The eels is a great example, right? Amazon exclusive. I ordered 3 from Amazon.com. Even though I'm in Canada, I did not wait for the Amazon.ca listing to come through. It never did. I ordered 3. There was no limit. So Amazon, there was no limit. If you were on Amazon and you were somebody that intended to flip them for $50 a pop, you could have ordered 100 of them. So this is what I'm saying. If Amazon ordered 1,000 units of the eels, sight unseen, just in a line sheet, Hasbro goes, here's, what we're going to offer you. How many do you want? They order 1,000. I order 3, you order 2, and then a bunch of people order 100. They're gone really quick. And there's no and then I don't, and then Amazon has to ask for more, but there might not be the opportunity to get more. I think when we see them sort of pop back up on Amazon, that's maybe like the second shipment, if that makes sense. I could be wrong. I could be entirely wrong, but that's my personal opinion. Skipping a bunch. This is relevant. Clash took hits on all their records to keep their prices down. Let's see. I'm skipping a bunch because there's a bunch that are sort of like conversations within the chat that are pretty hard. I'll use that next time I need a code name. Amanda says, my wife says, coming from another point of view of not collecting action figures, but I feel that Toys R Us is the go-to for kids growing up right now. At least in Canada it is. Maybe she doesn't. I don't know if she's still watching. Are you still watching? She might not know that Toys R Us doesn't exist outside of Canada anymore. Oh, the UK still has Toys R Us, I think. The Toys R girls are interested in are what they are carrying right now. Yeah. Let's see. Is she texting me? No. Let's see. Larry says, I ordered 4 Cobra Eel. I think you got your Cobra Eels from Hasbro Pulse too. Jay Wright is here. What's going on, Jay? All right, I'm caught up on the chat. I have no idea where I am in my rant. Needless to say, yeah, I mean it's hard, right? There's pre-orders, there's Kickstarters, there's crowdfunded projects, there's timed exclusives, there's location exclusives. There's I was growing up, right? There was like the exclusives were limited to mailaways, which weren't, as far as I know, that limited. I've said before, I never got any of the GI Joe mailaways because I didn't realize, and whether that was because I just never read the thing or because my parents kind of suggested to me that the mailaways weren't relevant in Canada. I never had any of the mailaways, and so I always thought they were really really cool. But as a kid, I was like, well, I can't get them. I guess I guess I'll just get something else. You know what I mean? I couldn't get Starduster, so I got, hit and run. It wasn't I didn't need everything then. I don't need everything now either. Maybe that's a carryover from me as a Canadian kid not being able to get things. San Diego Comic Cons, right? I always knew about San Diego Comic Con for ages and ages. I mean, it's been going for decades, right? San Diego Comic Con always had, exclusive figures, exclusive comic books, exclusive. It was all, you had to be there. I was never gonna be there. That was never a reality for me. That was never going to be a reality for me. So I would see that stuff and I was like, that's really cool. One day I want to go to San Diego Comic Con, right? It was the draw to get you to San Diego Comic Con. The world has dramatically changed. The market for collectibles has dramatically changed. Um, toys haven't changed in the sense that toys are still fun. I still play with my toys. And to me, they're still toys. They never have been and they never will be collectibles. I will never look at a toy and sort of, care what the blue book value or the black book value or the eBay sold listings or anything like that. Like I don't I don't want to know that stuff. I don't want to ever feel as though my toys, and I will, there's a caveat at the end of this. I don't ever want to feel like my toys are better left unplayed with because of what they're like worth, what their value is shouldn't sort of stifle what toys are. Toys are meant to be played with. Toys are meant to be loved and enjoyed, and they're meant to be fun. Um, it's Chad. Thank you, Chad, for the love of toys and awesome stream. Yo, highly articulated. Thank you for the super chat, Chad. Chad, I think you get it. I mean, you're customizing stuff. You're playing with your Joes. Like you're enjoying the hobby with sort of the mindset of that they should be fine and that they should be enjoyed. So I appreciate that big time. um let's see. Star says, I couldn't be a completionist way back when because I probably wouldn't find all the line. That's different now. A collector can be a completionist today with online orders of the whole series. Yes, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And I think for a lot of people, that's become like a hang up. It's become like, for a lot of us, like we got older, we got a little bit more money. And whether you're going after vintage stuff that you couldn't get as a kid and trying to like have a complete collection of vintage stuff, you now have the ability to like source it. You now have the ability to buy it. And the internet has sort of made that possible, right? The internet is like a blessing and a curse because things that were exclusive are less exclusive now. Now it really just becomes whether or not we're willing to pay what people are sort of asking price wise. It's really what it comes down to. Anything is attainable if you're willing to pay for it. I work in retail. I sell bicycles. I have people that ask me for things that I would not be able to source from any of our distributors that we work with regularly. But if somebody comes in and says, I want this thing, I say, I can absolutely get you that if you're willing to pay for it. That's how it works. That's so, when if somebody came into the bicycle shop and said, "Can you get me this San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from 2011?" I'd be like, "Sure." Because I know I can get it. You can get anything. That's what I'm saying. You can get anything. But then you can't sort of turn around and complain about the price of something that you shouldn't be able to physically get in a location. Like, does that make sense? So if it's like, let's say it's a 2011 San Diego Comic Con exclusive, you're like, well, I can get it now, but I don't like the price, and so that's what's upsetting. It's sort of like we're more than a decade removed. The price is the price. Being more than a decade removed shouldn't make any difference, and it doesn't to me. That's if it's a San Diego Comic Con exclusive from 2024. I will feel the same way. If somebody wants to buy one and jack the price up, that's their prerogative. I didn't go to San Diego Comic Con. If I wanted that thing, I would go to San Diego Comic Con, or, and here's this might. Sorry, I'm getting carried away with myself. If there might be something that you might want from San Diego Comic Con, start up a genuine friendship with somebody. Start talking with people that you know that may be going to San Diego Comic Con. That way you'll know somebody that might be able to help you out. I've gotten several San Diego Comic Con exclusives at retail plus shipping, because people that I know have gone. Can't get everything. I can't afford everything. I'm not trying to get everything. But that's life. Sorry. I guess. I'm not really sorry, but you know what I mean. I mean, I feel bad for people that really want something that they can't have, but at the end of the day, that's how it works. Derek Chandler, what's going on, Derek? Are you guys wrapping up at ZoloCon? Are you guys waiting for a plane, or what's where are you at, Derek? Chad says toys should always be played with and touched and appreciated. Absolutely. I do not understand what an inbox collector is. Why can't you just take pictures of things? Why do you need to physically own the object if you're never going to play with it? Beyond me. Look, I mean, if you got a couple inbox items, I get that. There's some that have like a little more sentimental value. You might have an extra, you have one that you open, one you play with. I also am starting to understand the people that have like, their basement set up like Toys R Us, where they have like pegs and they actually have like, carded figures on pegs and stuff. Like, that's kind of cool. Like, I get that. I couldn't do it. Chad says, I just finished a live unboxing of a super rare mint sealed, massively expensive 1999 Fun School Joe Battlehawk, and I'm glad I opened it. Yes. I mean, that's the thing. You gotta, like, as a kid, like the opening it, getting it is part of the experience. Opening it is part of the experience. Putting it together is part of the experience. But playing with it is like the point. Playing with a toy is the point. AI says its financial worth is not my reason for collecting. Is having it in hand, posing and playing with it. Exactly. So many of the lines, Star says, so many of the big lines of the past were from cartoons and movies. Now it seems like small IPs are creating most of the new lines. When's the last time that a new cartoon came out that spawned figures? I don't watch enough new cartoons to know, but I'm sure there is some. Larry says, I know someone that's going. Star says media's changed with that. Action figure lines are going to change with it. Yeah, for sure. Mal Rob Tell, some exclusives even just get sold online as normal. Hello, Vero, Atlas, and Tanger. Yes, absolutely. I mean, and that's part of the reality of it too. There's some exclusives that sort of start as exclusives, but just because of smaller companies, not having the same reach and the same sort of market, a lot of that stuff sort of ends up available. A lot of like Target and Walmart exclusives, at least in Canada, have been showing up with Canadian online retailers because the sort of Canadian branches like Hasbro Canada and Mattel Canada are allotted so many of those figures, and if the retailers don't take them, the small retailers are offered them. So um, let's see. Brick, something very good point. To Star's question of like what figure lines are coming out with new IPs, anime. There's tons of lines of anime figures that are coming out. Like well, I guess they're not new. They're kind of new to us sometimes. But like, there is new stuff like Jujutsu Kaisen and Chainsaw Man and stuff like that for sure. And like I said, there's lots of cartoons that come out that I just don't know. Actually, Bluey. There's a Bluey toy line. I have I have tons of them. They're great little fun toys. That's a new cartoon. With books and things like that. I think part of it too is that the market has changed, right? The market, who those lines are marketed to and who's buying what. When I was 8, 10, 12, I was still buying action figures. 8, 10, 12, I was still buying action figures at 8, 10, 12 now. I think that there's more. The content is different, right? Kids are consuming content differently. Kids are consuming media differently, so they're not necessarily watching cartoons. If they are watching cartoons the way that we did, that's weird because now they're watching them on YouTube on demand, and so they don't have to get up in the morning on Saturday and be limited by like Saturday morning. And if they're for me, I'm in the age bracket where I got Saturday morning and after school. Some people didn't even get after school, so it's just changed. The market has changed. Let's see. Um, Brick says, I'm really tempted to start a Dungeon Meshi Delicious in Dungeon collection when those Figma come out because that show is so rad. Brick mentioned that show to me. I still haven't had a chance to watch it, but yeah, actually, now that I think of it, like the Vox Machina, the Critical Role Vox Machina show has a line of action figures. I don't think anybody bought them. I kept seeing them on clearance. But there's another example. And that's a cartoon that was 100% not geared towards children. And then McFarlane picked up the line. Arcane, I think, has a line of figures too, which is video game, then cartoon, then action figures. They're out there. I think again, I think there's a bit of a perspective bias, right? I think we see the lines based on IPs that we want to see. But there's certainly stuff out there. There's IPs out there that I know nothing about, and when a toy line comes out, SH Figure Arts or Figma or McFarlane does a line of toys, and I don't even know what the IP is sometimes. But I think there are original cartoons that are having toy lines. I think video games is probably the better the better venue, like the more fertile venue, I think, for toy lines, because kids are just playing more video games than at least I was as a kid. Brian, Brian Brink, full disclosure, I work with Spiro Toys. So when you say the AWOC guys, I know who you mean, but I was talking with the AWOT guys at ZoloCon yesterday. I suggested they pitch a show to Netflix. I know that Jason would love to do a cartoon, but it doesn't quite work that way, unfortunately. Maybe, I mean, who knows? Someday. Yeah, and there you go. Star video games have come a long way in the market of action figures in the last decade or so. Absolutely. Jason is even here, so yeah, Jason wants to do a cartoon. Everybody that has a Toyland wants to do a cartoon. Ray Paz, I hope a third party makes some Dungeons and Dragons cartoon figures with soft goods. The Hasbro figures weren't very posable, and the Super 7 ones will be even less posable. Brian Brink, I want to try that dungeon show too. Is it good? Are they making toys for it? I've heard the show is fantastic. I don't know that they're making toys for it, but I wouldn't be surprised. Amanda said all the AWOC people are here. Derek says everyone but my wife. Let's see. Malrob tells some companies such as Lego and Hasbro are starting to see, adults are the ones with the money. Let's see more. Let's sell more to them. Totally. I mean, I think that's totally true. It's totally valid. I think we've seen a lot more toy lines that are geared towards us, right? You know, they're still toys. But you know, we always make the argument that, you know, kids aren't buying these. I mean, I buy toys for my kids. I know what I'm going to buy them, even if they don't know what they want, because they're kids. Kids don't know anything. Let's see. Ray Paz, I want them to make Blue Eyed Samurai. I love that animated series. Well, I mean, the Spiro Bushido line, who knows? You know, there may be characters that sort of fit within that world. Thundar needs a toy line, says Jay. Let's see. Jason says, yeah, we would love to. I feel like we have to have 2 story arcs of the comic done and need to show runner to champion the IP into a cartoon. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's one thing to just sort of like throw, you know, the IP at a you know, a studio or something. It's another thing to have, you know, a story and sort of say like, look, here's the world that we've built. Here would be season 1, here would be season 2, sort of thing. And Brick says that, yeah, they're making the Dungeon Feast, whatever, I don't know what it's called, toys. There you go. We're at about an hour. I couldn't use any of my visuals. Should I try to wrap it up? Should I try to like summarize everything that I said? We didn't make any progress. Surprise! If you've ever watched me sort of talk about a topic, you'll be very disappointed to learn that I just talk about it. I'm not going to tell you that I can fix it because I can't. But that's okay. Buy what you love what you buy. Don't get hung up on the one you can't get. You know what I mean? What's the you know, like love the one you're with, right? I guess. There's lots of cool stuff out there that you're never going to own. And I think once you sort of get to that point, once you get to that realization, once that like really embeds itself in you, or at least for me, like I said, this is my opinion. I shouldn't generalize, shouldn't make assumptions about other people and sort of how they're going to feel. You know, once you sort of get to the realization that you're never going to own everything and that not everything is for you either, it becomes much easier not to get upset about what you don't have, what you can't have. Um, that's my 2 cents. This probably would have gone a lot better if I had the visuals to sort of like go through, because I had like a chronological order of how it was going to work. But anyway, whatever. It's all good. This is live. This is live YouTube television, right? Um, we'll just chat for a little bit. What do you guys want to talk about? Any questions? Any comments? The Animal Warriors of the Kingdom Kickstarter is coming up March 6th. Full disclosure, as I said, I'm working with Spiro. I was working on the Kickstarter before I was on here, so check that out. It's a Kickstarter, which is not the same as a pre-order, but don't get hung up on that. Order what you like. Jay says, talking to a buddy today, I want Hasbro to make a Crystar Wave now and complete that line. Let's go. That Crystar has been very well received. It would not surprise me at all if we saw more figures from that comic book. Yeah, bummer about the whatever. Life goes on. My wife has joined as a member. She's in the other room while I'm recording videos, so she gets early access anyway. Let's see. Eldor says, yeah, the funny thing is that parents are buying and paying for the toys anyway. So it's still driven by what parents want, what us adults want anyway. So let's see. Jay says, I'll never own Mondo, but wow, yeah, they look fantastic. I'm the same way. They're just too big for my shelves. Like they literally wouldn't fit. Most of my shelves are that high. They would not fit. Let's see. Yeah, good. I agree, Luke. We're all gonna pass away, and this stuff will become irrelevant. You're probably right. The IPs that we love are very often a reflection of the world that we lived in as children, and sometimes those IPs are no longer relevant, and so you know we still love them. And it doesn't mean that other people will. Solo Sinner, it was cool to see the paint samples in ZoloCon coverage. Absolutely. And if I had had the ability to pull up the pictures, I was absolutely going to do that. I should I try one more? Nah, I'm not even going to bother trying one more time. I'll just wrap it up. It'll be a short-ish show today. Solo Sinner says the fox. Yes, the fox is called Boone, and he looks absolutely fantastic. You guys saw the digital render for Boone last week if you were watching. I had a picture of the painted version, and I absolutely love it. Ray Paz, I loved the pictures, the preview pictures from ZoloCon. Maybe you can show them to people. I can, but I can't. Let me see. We'll give it one more shot. Maybe StreamYard is gotten a little bit better. I'm gonna just pull up. Let me see if I can find somebody that's got a list. Okay, so Drew has. That's not a great one. Let's see. Trying to find somebody that's got sort of all the pictures in one place. I don't think anybody does. So I don't think it's worth. Is it worth me sort of digging around the internet to try to find these? Oh, wait, I know where I might be able to find them. Maybe. Bear with me. No. No, I'd be digging around forever. Um, let's see. Let's see if this will work. I'll show a couple just because. Well, I'll try. Nope. Still not working. Let's see. Will she super chat you and tell you to do the dishes? No, she won't. She won't super chat me. She wouldn't want to waste her money. Let's see. Yes, I was gonna say this. Brick says, for what it's worth, I'll try to show those AWOC paint masters at 4:30 on the news. Brick, can you in Facebook send me? No, I can look it up. I was gonna get him to send me the link. I'll post the link here to Brick Show. And you guys can all go check him out there as long as Brick is able to as long as Brick is able to get StreamYard to play nice, he should be able to get those pictures up for you. You are way ahead of the game as far as having too many videos. So it takes me a second to find the one that I need. Here it is. So I'm going to paste this in the comments. If you want to see those pictures, check out we'll check out anything. I mean, they're all over social media. They will be on Brick's show if StreamYard allows. They look awesome. But here's the other thing. Those are all going to be up in a little over a week when the Kickstarter goes live. And those are only some of them. I think there's still a couple that weren't at ZoloCon, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't there, so I don't know 100%, but I'm pretty sure there was 2 or 3 at least that weren't up. And then beyond that, there's stretch goal stuff. As I've said before, the stretch goals may go beyond the sort of what people are expecting as far as the offerings. So, Star, what are the possibilities of Spiro making Void like he's depicted in that early sketch you showed last time? It's pretty similar, but I mean, like, it's the one that's on the website is what we're getting. And it's, like I said, it's pretty similar. So, Jason says, Adam, that's me. So myself, Derek, and Jason will be on Geek Dad Life on March 3rd to talk more about the Kickstarter. So you'll probably be able to see more pictures and all that kind of stuff too. So check them out next Sunday. The Void sketch rocked. It's pretty close. I mean, I think it's pretty close. I mean, there's the 5th's going to come out, but the second story arc is already mapped. I don't know how many like issues. I don't know what you let you guys chat amongst yourselves. Sorry, the tech is not where. Yeah, I mean, it's not your fault. TJC is here, jumping in right at the last minute. So Brick says you really ought to make me a moderator. I just don't. I should. And Derek says, I just sent you the photos on Messenger. I have the photos. The problem is I can't. The StreamYard is the problem. Jay says, don't bring up the dishes. For the record, I hate doing the dishes. It's like the one household chore that I just hate doing dishes. Let's see. Oh, this is the. Tell us, how many issues do you have? Tell us your issues. Yeah, exactly. Alberto Morales is here. What's going on? Good to have you. Good to see you. We are just about to wrap up Unless there's any other questions, any other comments, is there any better says doing dishes is a breeze. Well, you're welcome to come and do ours, because that's like I hate doing dishes. Hate doing the dishes. Yeah, we're at hour and 15 minutes. I think it's a pretty good time to call it a day. It's been an absolute pleasure. It's always fun hanging out with you guys and chatting toys. You know, if I can, you know, if there's sort of one takeaway, right, from what I'm rambling on about and what I'm talking about, it you know, play with your toys. Grab something off your shelf and play with it. Enjoy your toys. Don't get hung up on the toys that you don't have. Don't get hung up on the toys that you can't find, the toys that are too expensive, or whatever the case may be. Have fun with the toys that you do have. Have fun with the toys that you do have. And if there's something that you really, really need, you really want, put it out there in the world. Put it out in the comments. Put it out in a Facebook group or something. Maybe somebody's got one. Maybe they and they're willing to help you out or whatever. There's enough cool people in the world that maybe something like that'll work out for you. Star says, great show. Next time, gang. See y'all at Brick's Place in a few. Absolutely. I think that's a great note to sort of sign off on. And so I will say the same thing. Have a great day, guys. Have a great weekend. We will be back. I've got a bunch of stuff to unbox. So hit the bell icon for notifications if you enjoy the unboxings, because I think there's probably going to be at least one. It doesn't fit into my normal schedule. Maybe even tonight, but we'll see. Until next time, bye-bye.